Hello there, this is Aaron.
And this is Sandra Turgot from Byond.
We are here today to explain to you the Byond Learning Castle, tell you what it is and what you can get out of the Byond Learning Castle. So Sandra, tell us about the Byond Learning Castle and what gave you the idea to come up with that concept.
So Aaron, I believe that a strong mind is like a fortress and is not easily invaded. So with this understanding, the Learning Castle was created. And why we say the Learning Castle is that we want to invite people to do the work, to develop that strong mind, to develop a solid concept of being, of who they truly are, the authentic self, the authentic person. Who are you? So in the Learning Castle, we take our participants through a self-discovery, if you may, a journey to self-discovery, which is a powerful thing.
Absolutely.
A journey to self-discovery.
Hello there, this is Aaron.
And this is Sandra Turgot from Byond.
We are here today to explain to you the Byond Learning Castle, tell you what it is and what you can get out of the Byond Learning Castle. So Sandra, tell us about the Byond Learning Castle and what gave you the idea to come up with that concept.
So Aaron, I believe that a strong mind is like a fortress and is not easily invaded. So with this understanding, the Learning Castle was created. And why we say the Learning Castle is that we want to invite people to do the work, to develop that strong mind, to develop a solid concept of being, of who they truly are, the authentic self, the authentic person. Who are you? So in the Learning Castle, we take our participants through a self-discovery, if you may, a journey to self-discovery, which is a powerful thing.
Absolutely.
A journey to self-discovery.
Selfdoubt TV.
We're live. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Beyond Talk, Walking with Purpose. I am Aaron George, and with me today, my co-host, Dr. Natabo Nkube. Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome.
Saturday morning.
Welcome. How are you, Doctor?
I'm good, Aaron. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. We're having some challenges, but finally we're here, and we're going to keep rolling. So we just want to thank everyone for joining us today. And for those of you that are joining us for the first time, normally Sandra Turgot is here. She's the founder of Byond Consulting, but she is taking a well-deserved rest today, and she will join us on the next broadcast. And for those of you that are joining us for the first time, just to let you know what Byond Talk is all about. Byond Talk is a social mentoring forum. It's a place designed to engage our community in thought-provoking conversation about real-life issues, um, triumphs, pain, grief, growth, and success. This space is designed to inspire you to foster transformation and healing. We believe life is a big classroom where teachers and learners are interchangeable. And our mission is to inspire you to go after your healing and so you can transform. And one of the greatest tragedies in life is to lose your authentic self and accept the version of you that is accepted by everyone else. So today we're in a 6-part series actually, and it's knowing your why of as you go through the healing. And I'm happy to be here with Dr. Natabo to co-host this segment of today. So again, welcome, Dr. Natabo, and I'm looking forward to this show with you.
Right. I'm excited as well. Hello, everyone. Sadibonani. Today we have such an interesting guest. She's calling in all the way from South Africa. Her name is Ebenezer Minyuku. She is here with us today, giving us the why and the how one can heal from their pain. When I first met Ebenezer, I was beyond inspired and empowered by her ability to rise through crisis and trauma. Her story fully embodies the full potential of the human spirit and serves as a reminder to us young women what is possible when we heal ourselves and we allow ourselves to love again.
Welcome, Ebenezer. How are you
Hi,
doing?
hi. Thank you very much for having me. I'm excited.
Yes.
I'm honored for you that you guys actually called me in. Um, wow, it's great to be on this platform, honestly. Having gone through what I went through,
Yes.
I'm hoping that what I have to share today will uplift and give many hope. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we're very glad to have you. And you're in South Africa?
I'm all the way in South Africa. It's 12 midnight.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay. Thank you for staying up to be with us. Which country specifically?
it's my pleasure.
Which country specifically are you in?
I'm in Johannesburg.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
in yeah, I'm in a town city called Johannesburg in South Africa.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. Excellent. Well, you know, we're curious to find out, how you actually, um, made it through your journey, and to hear the story, hear the background of what awakened you to healing. So we're looking forward to hearing your story today.
So basically I'm gonna just start with where I got married in my early 20s.
Mhm.
At a stage where when you're that young, you only see stars, you have dreams, you see fairy tales. And I got married with that whole picture of, I'm going to be a princess. It's a different light, honestly, and you're not quite aware that there is so much that needs to be built up in you for you
Yes.
to understand what marriage is about.
Mhm.
And little did I know that I needed to understand myself and learn and know what I wanted, but I didn't know then. So I got married in what to me seemed like a fairy tale at that time.
Yes.
In the 20s, I just finished my degree, first degree, and seemingly it seemed like it was what I wanted, you
Mhm.
know. And my then husband didn't seem like a bad person. He wasn't a bad person. But as we went along, as I was in that marriage, I then discovered myself, slowly. And I then realized that what I wanted in my early 20s is not what I wanted in my late 20s.
Right.
A lot of things were happening, so many problems, so many challenges. And it was so hard because having gotten married looked like it's a lifetime sentence. You've made that decision. There's kids involved. I
Right.
had 3 kids in the marriage. And it was just painful having to decide then is this what I want to live in for the next 50, 60 years of my life? And I'm still young. I mean, late 20s is still fairly young, you know. And I had to ask myself that question. That was what I was not ready to put up with for the next decades. And having walking out of a marriage of 10 years, well, I had known him for 10 years, but like we were married for 5, but still we had spent so much time together. We had had kids together. It was really, really difficult. And I remember crying myself every night to sleep before making that decision to leave, walk out there at that marriage. And looking at myself as a failure, you know, having lost confidence. It was really, really difficult. And I think it's what a lot of women go through even today. Well, a lot of them don't leave because of what, like, I know the pain of deciding whether you're going to go out or stay, you know, especially if the kids involved in that attachment with your partner. Nonetheless, I still made the decision. I walked out thinking, you know what, I don't know what's on the other side for me, but I'm willing to see what's on the other side. And I literally walked out with no picture in mind of what kind of a life I would have outside a marriage, being single, you know, with children. So then I walked out and I began my life as a single mom of 3, taking up so much responsibility. And I went to therapy, you know, just to try and I began therapy, couple of sessions, and yeah, I got done with that. But then I started, you know, the whole process of who I am, I'm becoming, started. It was very difficult. It was a lonely place, you know. It was. I literally, like, when I finished school, I jumped into marriage. So I had never been really single or, you know, been searching for a partner in that way. So a lot of things had changed. People view you different. People judge you. People look at you as a failure. It's really a lot. And on the other side, you're juggling a career, you're juggling a whole lot of other life situations. You know, it wasn't easy, but I took time to build myself, build my confidence. You know, and I said to myself, it's okay, you know, to go through this. I don't know what it is that I'm going through. And I had not even known then that there were other women that were struggling, you know. So with the same situation that I was going through, but I put myself, I was strong, I was resilient, you know, and I think I opened myself to the dating market, you know, in between somewhere after taking some time off, just to take myself and recuperate and be okay with being in my own space, you know. And that's one thing I've learned, actually. Healing process. When you are going along with it, you have to be okay with being alone. You have to be okay with your own company, you know, it's not having people around. And finally, as you break out when you're healing, I'd like to think I'm still healing even today, but I've gotten to a better stage of healing, you know, where I can face certain stages of life. And I remember trying my first date. It was different, you know, and I wondered, how do you tell someone that you have 3 kids? Like, you know, I don't even know what is the role that another man is supposed to play in my children's life. Like, how do I even get into that kind of situation? You know, it's unfamiliar. It's unfamiliar. I never imagined it. But to my surprise, wow, like, I realized I had been in a bad relationship. I think you don't even realize when you're in it, even when you're coming out, that you're coming out of a really, really bad, you know, relationship or marriage. But as I got to know other people and other relationships, and I got to meet a lot of people, and I realized that, wow, you know, I don't think I can ever be in such a bad relationship or marriage ever again. I actually realized as I was working and healing and continuing and never looking back that actually the outside world is such a better place. And I didn't leave my marriage wanting to meet someone. I left because I thought being alone would give me a peace of mind. So being in a relationship with someone else after that was actually a cherry on top, you know. And I think this I was not ready to tolerate any nonsense going forward, and having gone through so much pain and just giving everything to that partner, but you don't get the reciprocation back or the love back that you deserve. So I discovered even more of myself, physically, sexually. Yeah, I will say sexually as well. We have to say, I mean, it's a lot of things, honestly, just self-development, self and healing. And I'm still healing. And I wanted to be with someone that would give me that sense of peace and that sense of soothness and healing, yeah, going forward. So no, and as I was going along, of course, I did meet people that were not, exactly what I wanted, and it's been kind of a challenge, because as I walked out, I had standards. I put up my standards, and certain people would meet my standards, certain people would not, but I was not willing to compromise because I know what compromising did to me a couple of years ago, getting into, you know, marriage for not so right reasons.
Right.
And wow, I have to say that, had I not left my marriage, I would have not experienced the love that I've actually come to experience today. It's amazing. I eventually, because I was resilient and I didn't compromise. Um, I didn't give up on love completely, because I had healed myself. I had developed myself. I had found myself. I knew what I was looking for. I managed to attract the love that I feel I deserve. It's taken a couple of years. It's really it really needs patience as well on yourself, because people I met a couple of wrong people, trust me. It would take months for me to figure out that this is not actually what I want. But I'm grateful that I went through what I went through. The pain is what got me to where I am today, in terms of relationship and growth, um, and self-development. Honestly, I feel like I'm still growing, I'm still healing, and this is the space that I gave myself and the patience that I, given myself that space just to be alone and just to, just really concentrate on myself. It's really gotten me to a place where I've managed to attract the love that I actually deserve today, and I can comfortably say that I met an amazing man, honestly. He checks my list. The list on I had a list of the kind of men that I wanted. I even remember, and it looked like, oh my gosh, I actually have another fairy tale dream coming. But I actually, this man actually makes me feel like a queen today, and I don't even feel that uncomfort of bringing children into this relationship, because it doesn't make me feel like that. It actually feels like those are his children. I was looking for someone that would come into my life, be a lover, friend, a father figure to my children instantly. I didn't want to have to teach or guide anyone, but because of the work that I did and allowed myself to heal in the process, I attracted someone that I've always wanted. So this is I took myself out on dates when I was healing. I mean, if you don't love yourself, you need to for you to experience that love, you need to love yourself. And I really love myself. I took myself out. I did everything I would have wanted to get from a partner, took myself out, read books, whatever, talk to myself. I would talk to myself, have conversations with myself, if not praying to God. And honestly, it was not only me. I prayed so much. I prayed day and night. I meditated. It took a lot of work. Like I'm talking about years. It's not a month's process. So and I trusted the process of having to go through pain and letting time heal, in getting until I get where I'm at today.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's really
Such,
great. Go ahead, Natal.
yes, wow, such a powerful story, Abby. You know, it's like I always say to you, your story is a true testimony of what one can receive on the other side of pain if we allow ourselves to heal. And I remember, you know, being in a 7 year relationship. It was a toxic relationship. And I faced a lot of challenges. I was fearful and also in doubt myself of what was on the other side. And I held on to that relationship, not because I was supposed to be there, not because it felt right, but because I was addicted to that toxic environment. I was addicted to that negativity.
Mm,
And, when the time came, I finally found in someone enough courage to walk away from it. And, you know, I faced all these struggles, not having kids and all of that stuff, etc., etc. But there you are with 3 kids, and you managed to remove yourself from that kind of toxic marriage. And your story speaks to so much resilience, so much about resilience, so much about strength, and you truly are giving hope to women who are in those kind of situations themselves and who are always asking themselves, is there a man who will love me as I am, with the kids that I have, with whatever it is that I bring on the table. So thank you so much for sharing your heart, your truth, your story. It is, I know for sure that it is impacting people's lives.
definitely, definitely. So, ladies, um, you mentioned marriage as a young person. Is there an expectation, be it in North America, in South Africa, for young women to just get into marriage right away before they know who they truly are and start their family? Do they have to forsake who they are for the sake of being a wife and having kids?
So, the idea of marriage in Africa is different. So, when you get into marriage, traditionally, you're expected to serve your husband, just like fully concentrate. Like a lot of women traditionally used to, back in the days, used to just, they didn't have careers, right? So you would literally just leave everything that you dreamt of and concentrate. You're married now. Like it's such a big thing. I think it was a big thing. Nowadays things have changed,
Right.
right? So marriages were accomplishments for women back in the days. You
Yeah.
get married, it was such a big thing. Like you were in the society, you were considered, having accomplished something in life. You basically wouldn't really even have a career.
Right.
So obviously, me getting married in an early, that early, I
Yeah.
had not even. I only had this one picture that, oh my gosh, like when you get married, I have a man, I have a husband,
Mhm.
kids, family. That whole picture that you, like any woman in the 30s would want to have, and if
Right.
you have it as early as possible, it's an early accomplishment. Little do you know that there'll be so much that you could have probably concentrated on before getting married. So you really are going to serve your husband. You'll give your husband everything. You'll give that relationship everything. And that's what I did, while I was in marriage. I
Right.
gave it my all. And I think that was the painful part about leaving, that I had given so much that when I got out, I had nothing to give. Like I had nothing in me. I was empty, 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 emptied out. I had nothing emotionally. I was broken.
Mm,
I had no confidence. You wouldn't even believe that I didn't even think I was beautiful. And I was just like thinking, oh my gosh, who would want me? Who would want a girl like me not looking pretty and has 3 children? It's just a lot. And this is why I got out with just saying to myself, I'd rather be alone. It was that bad. I'd rather be alone than being in a toxic marriage. And also coming out, by the way, you have a lot of men, there's this stigma around single women with children, right? So the minute you say you have children, men are like, okay, never mind, I
mhm,
liked you, you got kids, it's
Right.
okay. And I got to a point where I was like, okay, now it's
Yeah.
okay. Like people disappear when you say you have 3 kids, but still it's like, you know what, I won't settle. I will
Mhm.
not settle. I will not. I won't be put down by people's stigma, but the way people perceive me or what they think is the standard, So I still carried on,
Right.
So yeah, no, it's so. But to answer your question, in Africa it works differently. But nowadays, women have careers,
Yeah.
women have standards,
Right.
women with kids are strong,
Yeah.
But I'm really hoping that today I can give hope to those women that are in toxic relationships. And I'm not saying people must go and get divorced,
Right.
but it's really not working. And
Right.
you have so many years ahead of you. You have decades ahead of you.
Yeah.
It's good to just take an introspective on yourself and what you really want. And the pain will be there. It's part of the process, but it's what will get you to the other side of your happiness.
Right.
Mhm.
Denise, it seemed that you had lost yourself at some
I
point
had
in that
myself.
match. You really lost yourself. And
Totally.
what would you say, looking back, was there any one particular event that just made you say, well, enough's enough, I don't care what's ahead of me, I'm out of here, because this is not who I am, this is not what I want for my life?
Yes. I don't want to share the particular event, but there was, it's I can just say it's basically cheating. But like it went deeper than just cheating. And I thought to myself, I don't think I can ever handle this. Maybe other women, and trust me, I've asked advice, and you speak to other women around you, you speak to the elders, and they're like, oh, why would you leave a man because he's made a mistake? But I knew in my heart, like my spirit knew that there is no way I will stick around for this. And this is why I was ready to be alone for the rest of my life.
Right.
Basically finding a partner
Mhm.
through my journey going forward was it was a cherry on top.
Right.
I had not even imagined that I would meet someone so amazing today, by the way. If I compare my life today and my life back then, I would have never imagined it.
Right.
So
Right.
Right.
I
And
truly love myself, and the whole journey of healing, it
Yeah.
helped find myself. Therapy as well.
Wonderful.
There's a lot of work, honestly, that goes into it.
Yeah.
It's not a one story. It requires a lot of patience on yourself and just concentrate on yourself, and you see a lot of things will find you while you're working on that journey.
Absolutely.
that is
Absolutely.
powerful, powerful.
Yeah.
And Aaron, just to also shed some insight as to what it means to walk away from a marriage, especially in an
Mhm.
African culture, in an African context.
Yeah.
Um, young women, including myself, we grew up being raised by obviously our mothers,
Mhm.
and we were told that by 25 you should be at least married and
Yeah.
with kids and doing something with yourself. So you can imagine the shame that
Yes.
you experience when
Mhm.
you then wake up one day. You have to face your family and your friends, and you tell them you're walking away from a marriage that you feel no longer serves you,
Right.
right? From an African context, there's nothing like you walk away from a marriage that no longer serves you. Where are you going? And the
Mhm.
number one question that the elders will actually ask you is, where are you going? Where would you find a man who is not going to be the same,
Yeah.
just like your husband? Because the misconception is that all the men are the same. All
Mhm.
the men are the same. So there
Mhm.
is nothing on the other side. So
Oh,
basically, they're just,
yeah.
politely telling you to stay where you are
Right.
and go through that pain and go through that marriage which is no longer
Mm.
serving you. And so, when Ebenezer was obviously sharing her story, I couldn't help but ask myself, how did you face your parents, your family, your
Mhm.
friends? What did that look like for you? How did you summon that courage to face them and say, this is no longer serving me, and I'm choosing myself. I'm choosing to heal myself. I'm
Mhm.
choosing to walk away from this.
Wow.
What did that moment look like for you?
Um, well, being an African and I have a father that's a bit traditional, and has a different view to relationships. So obviously that was a bit difficult because I remember having to explain. They wanted to know, my father wanted to know, so exactly why are you leaving again? you know, and I had to sit down and tell him about all the incidents that have happened. And I said, I would rather go through the pain of being single than go through the pain of being with someone that disregards everything you're about, every value. And I just remember, like, in that marriage, eventually it started feeling like we're going opposite directions.
Mhm.
So, I sat down and I said, I'm not happy in this. I want to leave. And they asked me, they're like, well, do you realize that you have 3 children? Who's going to come into your life and love your children the way your husband loves your children? So you can imagine that when I walked out, that fear was there. And I said to them, I'm willing to take that chance.
Right.
And that's what I said. I'm willing to take that chance. If there
Mhm.
is no man in this whole wide world who will ever want me with my 3 children, then that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'll be at peace. I will be happy.
Right.
And funny enough, when I finally got to a point where I had gotten over the whole marriage, I was very happy. I
Right.
was a very happy single woman,
Yes.
happily divorced, so to say. So to
Yes.
speak.
Yes.
It's you don't think you'll get there, but you actually
Right.
do.
Yeah.
For the women that are actually trying to leave out there, it's worth it. It's worth that risk. It's worth
Yeah.
it. Live for yourself. You don't live to go and meet someone. You live for yourself.
Perfect.
All for yourself. Anything else that comes into your life, if there's a man that comes into your life, they are a cherry on top.
Awesome. Wow. That's incredible story. And I applaud you, your courage, for doing that. And as a man, who came from, a broken relationship, where, one day my wife packed up and left me, I had to go home to an empty house, but I've had to learn that, the role, take responsibility for the role that I play, and it's good hearing your perspective because, as a man going through who's in a toxic relationship, you don't really think about the other person because you don't even hear their perspective, but I think it's a courageous act to leave, and I think if both parties are if there's a great awakening or a sense of awareness and to realize, as painful as it is in that moment, that somewhere down the line, if you seek to find the why in the failing of the relationship, if you seek to find that why, you will get to the greater good, which is be connected to your authentic self and to live from a place of love, that's from by yourself, without toxicity, without
Yeah.
attachment, without just having to overpower the other individual and to live free. And I think it's something that's happened to me, and I think it hurt initially, but today, 30 years later, I can say, man, that was a dear price to pay to help to find
Yeah.
who I
Yeah.
who I am today. And hearing your story, it just even brings to mind the cultural context, because hadn't even looked at the cultural context, in terms of, getting married and what the society expects of you, and as a woman, how they look at you with the children. But I think, because we're so programmed to see life in a certain way, that once you step out of that, you look down upon. But I think ultimately, you did the ultimate thing, that's to save yourself. It's your life,
Yeah.
and nobody else can live it for you. Nobody knows what you have to deal with behind those closed doors. And you made the decision for yourself and for your children. And I don't know if it was toxic, right? That toxicity is now in the past. You want to create a new circle, a new way of living, and a new way of being, and new expectations for your daughters and for your son. So, I think that men shouldn't stay and suffer in silence. If you can get help, you get intervention and people to help you, and you both have the same mind and you want to work together and change your life, great. But if that is not working, then you got to get out of Dodge. You got to find a way to save yourself. And that's what you did. And that's what you did. It's courageous. Yeah. It's courageous, but I think it's needed because ultimately, we have to save ourselves. Nobody can do it but us. So that's great. That's great that you did that. So you talked about, having somebody in your life. So you've gone through the healing process. You've taken some time, and I'm curious to know some more about your particular methodology, that you apply, because there's no roadmap, is there?
No, there is no roadmap, but there's basics and there's certain fundamentals. And I know I tell Tabo all the time that you have to value yourself to a certain level to be able to attract a certain level of a partner. If you value yourself less, you will be treated less, right? So as you walk, obviously, I've always wanted a high value man, and you have to be a high value woman to want to be able to get a high value man. Right. Yeah. First of all, you have to, get to a certain level where you cannot accept just anything. And being a high value woman, looking for a high value man, you get all sorts of men wanting you, obviously, because you're a catch, So that's the tricky part, because you can easily fall prey for a man who's not really who cannot really offer you what you're looking for, because everybody's going to catch you, even the ones that you're not supposed to be with, So can you imagine just having to sift through a whole lot of people, even for the one little quality that is not there? I would not compromise. I think that is my magic, So anything, if I have to meet someone, it has to be precisely what certain qualities. And if you even say the wrong thing, if you speak the wrong way, like, I would not settle. So there's not really a roadmap. It's just how I operate. And just like shifting, I always shift. Like, if I meet you and you speak at some kind of way, I quickly move on. You're not what I'm looking for.
Right. You know who you are. You know who you are. You know who you are. You know what you want. You know what you desire.
I know what I'm looking for. Yeah. I'm looking for a high value man, because I regard myself as a high value woman with 3 children. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And
I love that.
You might be full of myself, but I have to be full of myself. I have to love myself. Nobody's going to know. So you can imagine I'm on top there, and I did meet people that are saying, "Oh, please, you have 3 kids. What do you think you are? You're full of yourself." And I'll say, "You know what? You're not for me. Step aside. I know the guy that I'm looking for is probably somewhere along." It's like walking. It's like a marathon. You have different stops. Yeah. So the different stops are all these people trying to catch you and pretending to be who you want, Right. And I remember at some point I learned that you actually don't say what you're looking for when you meet a person, That works because you allow a person to be who they are, and you'll be able to judge if that's for you or not. If you meet a person and you say, "Oh, I'm looking for this qualities," they actually try and act out those qualities for a whole year. Imagine you stretch out a whole year with the wrong person. So you don't even say, but you will realize that the person, every time you think in your heart. So the man that I met currently, right? I didn't even have to tell him what I was looking for, but I used to just wonder, I wonder if he's like this. And funny enough, he would just write up, act, just act as a sign. I think it was a sign for me that, okay, he's, when you're wondering if someone is a good person, and then he does a good deed, just out of the blue, he does a good deed to show that, and just not to show you, but you can see it's just like something that's part of,
he is.
and it's part of your friendship or whatever it is, and then you realize, wow, I think that act is actually, that means that person is a good person,
Right.
you know? So for me, really is not settling. I don't settle at all. I don't compromise. I'm resilient to wanting certain qualities that I
Right.
want.
Yes.
I don't change my mind. I don't think anyone would come into my life and say, "Oh, yeah, but you know, you have 3 children. Why don't you settle for this?" Like, you know, people are not perfect. I know people are not perfect. I know my guy will have his flaws, but it will be the kind of flaws that I actually don't mind. You know, there's certain things you can't live with, and we're different. There's certain things you can live with that I can't live with. So if
Right.
you can handle someone that has certain flaws that I can't, then good. You
Yeah.
know, if you're comfortable with being in that kind of situation, it's fine. And also, I've also learned that having doubts, you know, if you have to sit and doubt whether someone likes you or not, then
Mhm.
you probably shouldn't be there. You
Mhm.
know, it's even the little detail you need to. It's paying
Yeah.
attention to the littlest detail
Perfect.
on qualities and character and
Yeah.
substance,
You're
and
so
that is where you know you get to know the person you're probably looking for. So it's there's no manual really.
right. You're right. There isn't a manual, but I think there has to be a revolution in your thinking, in your mind, and the things that you desire. Because when you're 21, or whatever age you were when you got into the marriage, you were conforming. You were doing what everybody does. You didn't know who you
Yeah,
were, and
yeah,
everything. So when you said you started to grow apart, the growing apart was that you identifying, with your authentic self, even though
hmm
you were probably uncomfortable in that situation, and you had to figure out a way to get out of there. But I think
yeah,
also, what happens most times is that women leave one toxic relationship and they go into another one, and it's
exactly.
because they don't heal. They don't take the
Mhm.
just women. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. It's men and women. They
Mhm.
go into toxic relationships because, I mean, because men are victim too, right? Men, and it's
Right.
not just
Of
women;
course.
they're men that are victims too, right? So you have to do the work. You have to
Mhm.
do the inner work, getting to know who you are, connecting with your authentic self, and being firm, and not compromising, and not
Mhm.
and not operating from a place of fear. Oh, I'm gonna
Mhm.
lose. This one is so hot. I'm gonna lose her.
Yeah,
I'm gonna lose him.
Mhm.
Right? You just got to be confident in who you are, and like you rightfully said, Ebenezer, that mind, that
Mhm.
desire that you have in your mind will only bring you to that the person that's vibrating at that particular
yeah,
level, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
It's it's almost like we're gonna say the law of attraction, right? And
yeah.
you have to know, you have to know what it is that you desire, because if you don't know what you desire, you're gonna fall for anything,
hmm
right? So that's
Mhm.
part of the healing process, right? Just knowing yourself, knowing your
Yeah.
desires, knowing what you want into your life, and knowing the role that you play in bringing that in your life, right?
Yes.
You can't make a decision and then down the road, oh, you said, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know this. I didn't know.
Yeah.
It's not a sprint, right? In terms
Mhm.
of relationships. And healing is a marathon. It's not a sprint,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you might think you know enough, but you go turn the corner and you say, oh wow,
Yeah.
I didn't know that,
Literally
right?
what was happening to me, literally what was happening to me, you know, like I said, in the marathon, there's different stops, right? So at every stop, there's something shocking. Like,
Yeah,
you're like,
Right.
oh my God, wow, like really?
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And I think that also it helps you get to where you're actually supposed to be.
right, right.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
it's
Right.
it's sticking to being true to yourself.
Being true to
Um, if you've discovered what you really want, you
yeah,
will not compromise. You will not change your mind. You
right,
will not, you will not question
right,
yourself. You keep
right,
walking. If things don't resonate with you
yeah,
along the way, you keep walking.
yes.
So
Absolutely,
thing is
absolutely,
really
and I think it's sometimes like you said, it's the self doubt, it's the fear,
mm,
it's overcoming that old brain, and that's where all the work is, right? Overcoming
yeah,
Mhm.
the old brain that always wants to pull you back, pull you down.
Mm.
But once you have those clear, defined desires, and you're decisive, that's when and I think that's a barometer, of where you are on the journey, on the healing journey, when you're steadfast, in your choices and your and your desires, so that's phenomenal. It's great hearing your story and just the perspective, the South African perspective mixed in it, so the cultural aspect, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And wow, that was powerful. And there's the other reality, Ebenezer, which I would really love for you to touch on. It's one thing for you to know what you deserve, the kind of man that you deserve, and it's another for you to go through the process to getting the actual man that you deserve, right? And here I'm talking about what happens in society. For instance, I remember for me when I had broken out of the relationship, some of my friends who were married at the time or we were in stable committed relationships, they stopped inviting me to certain events, certain engagements where partners would meet. And for you, how did you deal with the judgment and the labels that came from being a divorcee? And what would you say to a young woman who is going through that process right now, where they feel like the society is against them and they're not really supporting or in sync with who they are right now in terms of the decisions that they are making?
Well, yeah, the stigma of how people view single women is actually you don't get invited to groups. Oh, she's single, people have their partners, and there's a level of discomfort around you being a single woman, and little do they know that you actually are comfortable in your own space. So I think for someone that is a divorcee or single, and obviously wanting to be fitted into those groups, first of all, you have to be, if you are comfortable with who you are and you love being around yourself, you can sense when you're not wanted somewhere because you're maybe single, you don't have a partner, and you don't get invited. That should not get to you. And being single sometimes gets lonely, right? And you're not always going to fit certain groups because you're single. So I think just take it with a pinch of salt and just move on, really, and just leave the groups alone. You will realize there's actually friends that come along and make it your worthwhile and invite you everywhere. And it's you let the groups go. You let that you just let it go and don't force yourself into those kind of situations, because even if you do go, it's uncomfortable, trust me. um, just the vibe changes, the mood changes because you've arrived as a single person, and people don't are not aware what you feel inside and how you comfortable with just being by yourself. I mean, if you can take yourself to a date alone, you can surely go to an event alone, and sometimes you're looked at as, why is she alone? Why doesn't she have a partner? What's wrong with her? And you don't. I personally wouldn't go to places like that. Like if I get a feeling that the vibe is probably going to change, the mood will change, I'll probably just pass, and let that get to me. So it's really, you need to be really strong to take journey of walking and saying to yourself that I want to get this kind of a person, man, in my life. I want this kind of a partner. It requires a lot of strength and resilience. It's not easy. Sometimes it's lonely sometimes, but you should never ever give in. You should never give in, otherwise you will fall for the wrong person. Or because sometimes you do meet someone that's really close to what you want, honestly, and you think to yourself, oh my gosh, if I leave this, is this something better than this? Like, this is the closest to what I imagine, that like that what I've written on my list, what I want. um I still left.
Hmm.
Even along the way, even when I met the wrong people that were very close to what I want, I still moved on. So it's Tabo, it's quite it's quite an experience, honestly, because it's not only finding a partner, it's also the friends around you. Your company changes, honestly. Suddenly you don't have so much friends, it's a lonely place. It's a
Right.
lonely place. This is why I'm saying you need strength. And not to be depressed, but to love yourself and just, say, you know what, let me just carry on. Let me just concentrate on myself. I, for one, had so much to do. I love to read. I'm studying. So there's so much to do. I could always miss events so easily, because I always had other things to do. I
Right.
always found stuff to do by myself, so time it went by so quickly, that before you know it, you're dating someone.
Right. Right. Right.
You're
So
not having to be so lonely.
yeah. So the key is when you're feeling lonely or you're in those moments is just to occupy yourself, occupy your mind with other things, and
Absolutely.
you would read, and what are some of the other things that you would do just to help you
Study.
get
I
out of that?
would read, study, watch TV. I watch a lot of TV and I sleep a lot.
Uh,
Sabo knows. If I'm not sleeping, watching TV, studying, reading,
yeah.
chilling with the kids, hanging out with the kids, you can imagine my hands are full already.
Right.
So I don't need to be in a wrong relationship, wrong event,
Right.
being stressed out, so no. So it's really occupying yourself. It helps pass time very easily with positive things,
Awesome.
and if you're going to have friends, make
Yeah.
sure that it's good friends,
Mhm.
positive vibes, friends that are good for you only, because that will keep your head high. Friends that see you for who you are and
Right.
help you and hold your hand.
Yeah.
Everybody needs. You cannot be entirely alone. You need that close friend you can trust, talk to about things when you're feeling lonely, if you don't have a boyfriend, whatever. That also really really helps.
Right.
Mm.
How's your family now? How's your mom and dad? How are they? What's their perspective now? Their outlook on you
Oh,
now?
different. They've moved. I think they're catching up. They're moving with me. We're on par.
Nice. Nice.
I think
That's
for them it was such a shock that I actually recovered. I think also they were going through the pain with me. It was painful,
yeah.
having to see their daughter go through so much pain, and they
Yeah.
still married. So they don't know what divorce is like. I had to go through it, and it's for them. I think that the outcome wasn't also clear on how I would take this and how it's
Mm.
going to turn up. And yeah, so it's I think for them it's such a surprise, and I think they're moving with
Yeah.
with the times. They're moving with me.
Fantastic.
Um,
Mm.
Fantastic.
yeah.
Well, that's a
Wow.
great story. We got 5 minutes left, Tabo. So great story. I love it. We can talk forever, Ebenezer. If you have your parting words, maybe, and take a minute and just give some parting words to our audience.
Um, I just want to say, do not ever settle. Nothing is ever too bad to keep you in a bad situation or a toxic relationship. Um, I'm not saying people must leave their marriages. If you're going to work it out, work it out. But if you're not, there are so many years to live, and you cannot live in pain for the rest of your life. There's so much to live for. There is so much ahead. There are greener pastures. So take that leap of faith and take the first step. Pain is part of it, is part of the process. Trust
Mhm.
the process, believe in yourself and develop yourself, heal yourself, find time, spend time with yourself, love yourself. And if you're going to want a partner, he's going to find you loving yourself and he's going to love you, the way you deserve to be loved. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Very well said. Dr. Tabo.
Wow. It was so different listening to you today, actually. Wow. You have such a powerful story, Ebenezer. And thank you so much for inspiring me, but for also inspiring each and every other woman out there who had tuned in today. Your story is also a reminder that we all deserve the love that we're yearning for. It's not only for a special few, it's for all of us. And we should just commit to our healing growth so that way we can find the love that we deserve. And thank you for embodying that.
Wow, wonderful. Well,
Thank you for having me on your show, guys.
it was our pleasure. Pleasure. It was a pleasure meeting you and speaking with you. And it was great hearing your story. And you are very courageous. And I love the way you stood up for yourself, stood up for your kids, stood up for your family to make a difference. And you found yourself. And I think that's the ultimate quest, is to know who we are and to give ourselves everything that we desire for life. So for that, I applaud you. And thank you for being our guest today. And we hope we can speak with you again sometime in the future. And maybe there's a book coming out.
Right.
We don't know. I hope so too. Bye.
All right. Thank you for joining us. Sandra will be back in 2 weeks. And thank you. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye for now.
Dak TV.